From your local election headquarters, here's Fred Childers with This Week in Louisiana Politics.
Good Sunday morning to you. I'm Fred Childers. Thanks for joining us for This Week in Louisiana Politics on your local election headquarters. We had a busy week down at the legislature. Louisiana lawmakers wrapped up their special crime focus session this week after passing the swath of criminal justice overhaul bills touted by the governor. Capitol reporter Shannon Hecht breaks down the final debates for us.
On the final day of the special crime session, some of the most controversial bills had their last debates. House Bill 6 will expand the methods of how the state can put someone to death to include nitrogen hypoxia and the electric chair. Some lawmakers don't agree with the methods, saying they are cruel and unusual.
I think we can do better. I think the death penalty is one of the biggest stains on us as a society. And to continue to revive and expand it, I think only brings us in the wrong direction.
There have been hours of public testimony from family members of victims of people on death row asking for their cases to finally come to an end. Governor Jeff Landry joined some of them in the balcony to watch the final vote.
Today we can honor these families and remove the hurdles so that justice may be served for the victims.
Lawmakers also passed bills to do away with parole for future offenders, as well as significantly reduce the amount of good time earned. A bill also passed to lower the age a person is considered an adult in the criminal justice system to 17, so they can be tried and housed in adult facilities. There were many questions about how much all this legislation will cost. That dollar figure is still unsure. Landry is expected to sign the bills headed to his desk next week. For your local election headquarters, I'm Shannon Hecht.
Also, a major bill passed during the session will allow people 18 and older to conceal carry a gun without a permit or training. Jordan Lippincott breaks down the changes for us.
During a crime-focused special legislative session, Republican State Representative Mike Johnson urged his fellow lawmakers to pass a bill that would allow Louisianians 18 and older to carry a concealed handgun without a permit.
People are getting raped, murdered, carjacked, assaulted, and in most cases, those people are defenseless. You vote for this bill today and give the citizens of Louisiana the right to defend themselves.
The bill that would eliminate the cost and training to conceal carry received bipartisan support.
Just about everybody got a gun, so if you want to protect yourself, you better have one too.
Yes,
that's how I see it.
Yes, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you, Judge, for voting for my bill.
The Republican-backed bill, however, didn't receive support from all Republican legislators. Some worry the bill could lead to more gun violence.
Law enforcement, by and large, the ones that I've talked to, they've not come out against the bill, but it doesn't appear that they're for the bill. So I won't be supporting the bill.
We have 75 yeas and 28 nays.
Most lawmakers ultimately voted in favor of passing the bill. Now heads to Governor Jeff Landry's desk for his signature.
And again, once the bill is signed, the law will go into effect July 4th, purposely coinciding with Independence Day. Governor Landry has said he will sign that bill. Now, the special crime session had a number of bills that would keep people in prison longer, but how much will that cost? Shannon Hecht is back with some details.
The two bills look to keep people in prison longer, to serve more of their sentences by taking away parole and reducing the amount of good time someone can earn. But there's a big question of how much this will actually cost the state. In the Senate Finance Committee, lawmakers question the Legislative Fiscal Office on if they are potentially improperly calculating the cost of the tough-on-crime bills. For the bills that do away with parole in the future and reduce how much good time can be earned, they make calculations based on people being in prison longer. But State Representative Debbie Villio claims that wouldn't be the case.
This fiscal note is just wrong. I could say it's disingenuous at best. I could say that it's with a lack of understanding of what goes on. I don't know what goes behind it, but it's certainly inconsistent.
A lot goes into their calculations, such as how many people might be convicted under the new laws, and if they are housed in state or local facilities. Some conservatives say that their changes in this session will ultimately have no major impact on the state's costs. But others are concerned about the speed in which the bills are being passed, with finances still in question.
I do think that members need to slow down, look at what we are doing, and look at the fiscal impact it will have on our states.
Well, former lawmaker Ted James is challenging Sharon Western Broome in the mayor-president race for East Baton Rouge. James has served as Louisiana State Representative. He also served as chairman of the Administration of Criminal Justice Committee and led the Legislative Black Caucus at the State House. James shared how he plans to crack down on crime, support childhood education, financial literacy, and increase jobs for youth in the parish if elected.
For one, we're going to invest in young people. We're going to try to correct issues before there are even issues, working with our Head Start program, working with all of the local schools here. It is a fact that some people in our community are going to commit crime. We're going to make sure that we jail those. We're going to make sure we keep our community safe.
When asked for a comment, Mayor Broome's administration says her 7-year track record speaks for itself. The governor taking aim at the Sewage and Water Board. Residents are hopeful the city's ongoing flooding problems are addressed, but one city council member says the governor may not have the right people for the job.
With Governor Jeff Landry launching a task force to investigate what he calls repeated failures of the Sewage and Water Board, residents are hoping he starts with the turbines.
So every time it rains, we don't flood. They always talking about 1 or 2 going out. Why? We paying our taxpayer money. They got money to fix them. Why can't they fix them?
Any little rain, any little flood, flash wash, all that need to be upgraded. There's money here. They just need to do what they got to do and upgrade everything.
However, Councilman J.P. Morrell says that none of the appointed members of the task force are from communities directly affected by flooding or ongoing billing problems.
There is no effort that was made to reach out to anyone in the community, any of the elected officials. This is not a legitimate group looking for reform. It's a group that probably has an agenda and is looking for a task force to rubber stamp the agenda.
Which one resident agrees with.
Perhaps they should include the city's engineering staff or a member of that staff on this task force for them to work together. Previous engineering reports might even have that information.
Morrell is now calling for a fair and open debate about Sewage and Water Board's future, adding that 30 days is not enough time to address years' worth of problems.
Sewage and Water Board to date will not admit they have a billing problem. The people paying for Sewage and Water Board is not the state of Louisiana. It's residential ratepayers. The idea they're going to produce a work product that protects them is 0.0%.
All right, 3 federal judges will hear arguments over the new maps for U.S. congressional districts in Louisiana. A new lawsuit was filed after the legislature okayed a layout meant to be in line with the Voting Rights Act. Now, the preliminary injunction hearing is set for April 8th through 9th in Shreveport. Several people across the state argued in the suit that the new map was similar to the Hayes versus Louisiana map back in the 1990s, and that was determined to be unconstitutional. The plaintiffs also found issues with the 6th district stretching from Baton Rouge all the way to Shreveport. More lawmakers are urging the feds to help Louisiana's crawfish farmers after a not-so-great season. Stay with us. That's next.